So we are going to start at 1:30 sharp. Yeah. So still 5 minutes to go. We still have 5 minutes.
When going to start now?
1:30. 1:30. So we are still waiting for more. For 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, we are still waiting for the participants because the participants 300 who has registered.
Venerable Sumanasiri.
Yes.
Can
you hear me?
Yes.
I'm fine. Yes.
Earlier, I had been in Sri Lanka in 2000 until 2007.
2007.
Yes, I studied in Sriwijaya. I studied in Sriwijaya College.
Sriwijaya College.
Maradana.
Maradana.
Earlier. Yes. Together with Venerable Akuratinanda. Do you know him?
Akuratinanda, he is one of my close friends.
Really? Oh. Yes, Akuratinanda, Venerable Pali. Yes.
How long you have been here?
Oh, in Sri Lanka about 6 years.
6 years. Oh, what you did?
Yes. Yeah.
What you did?
I studied for BA degree. I stay in Raja Mahavihara, Bilanwila.
Bilanwila.
Together with Venerable Wimalaratana.
He passed away.
Yes, because I struck by the elephant. Yeah.
Elephant attack.
Yes, elephant attacks. So I'm happy to see you today.
I'm also enjoying this program.
Yes. Now Buddhist and Pali in Humagama.
People are participating.
Humagama.
Yeah. Akuratinanda was the Vice Chancellor there earlier.
Earlier, yes.
Maybe in 1990 or something like that.
Oh, 19. Yes. Now in Indonesia have 2 Buddhist state college.
Yeah, Samaratungga College and your one, isn't it?
It's in Sriwijaya College together with Mr. Edi. Now how is in Sri Lanka about COVID now? In Indonesia very
problem everywhere.
problem problem now.
It is serious in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, in serious, very serious. Yeah.
How about Indonesia?
Oh, Indonesian very serious. Even my
Serious.
neighbors in front of my house, my beside house, there is a suffer from COVID. Yeah. My neighbors many.
Neighbors.
Yeah, my neighbors in front of my house, in
So
lab
we have to be very careful.
yes, we cannot go out.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have to follow the rules.
Yeah. We stay at home. We work from home.
That's good.
Yeah. But
That's
yes,
the way that we have to protect.
Really. There is no, according to the Dhammapada, no shape in the world. Not in the sea, not in the mountain, or in the cave. There is the result of our own karma. Yeah. Everywhere very dangerous now. Yeah. Venerable, so have you been to Indonesia?
Yeah, I have been there 2 or 3 times.
Oh, 3 times.
Yeah.
Have you visited the Borobudur?
I went there.
Oh, yes. Very famous, yes.
Yeah, very beautiful.
But now, according to our religious minister affair, they will ring the Borobudur become more popular in the world.
Yeah. It is already popular, no?
Yes. Like in Sri Lanka, everywhere, like in Kelania is very famous, in Kandy, in Kataragama.
Yeah.
World.
Polonnaruwa and
Polonnaruwa, yes, I have been there also. Temple, very famous.
Sigiriya.
Sigiriya, yes, I mean. Sigiriya, Polonnaruwa, Kandy, yes. Then the ancient central of Buddhism.
We are going to start in 10 minutes while we are waiting for Fatah.
We just talked with Venerable Sumanasiri, our high priest in Sri Lanka. Mundru, ya. Oh, Mother Mundru.
Now going to start?
Yeah, we are going to start in 10 minutes while waiting for the Prof Fatah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Registered?
Yeah.
Mira Maulani. How many registered?
dan Serang, Provinsi Banten pada sore hari ini.
Tirta Sindangsari ini dibangun atas bantuan dana loan dari Islamic Development Bank yang disupervisi oleh Bappenas dan Kementerian Keuangan melalui Kementerian Dikbud RI, kalau dulu Kemenristek RI kan. Sebenarnya tergabung dalam proyek 4-in-1. Ada 4 universitas yang menerima dana bantuan Islamic Development Bank yang dimulai sejak 2016. Kemudian proyek konstruksi itu dimulai di 2018, 2020. Dan UNTIRTA mendapatkan pengembangan kampus baru UNTIRTA di Sindangsari sesuai dengan proposal yang kami ajukan. Di tempat ini terdiri dari 12 gedung termasuk pintu gerbang dan 1 gedung additional work itu yang untuk pembangunan karakter di sebelah kiri. Di total 12 gedung. Alhamdulillah sudah selesai di akhir 2020 tadi. Atas nama masyarakat Banten saya beranikan diri ya, tentu menyampaikan terima kasih atas dukungan penuh dari pemerintah ya, terutama Pak Presiden Jokowi. Ini merupakan kenangan indah dari masa pemerintahan beliau dengan memberikan dukungan pembangunan fasilitas kampus baru yang membanggakan bagi masyarakat.
Yeah, we are going to start in 1 minute. The Honorable Rector of Unoversitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa, Profesor Dr. Haji Fatah Sulaiman, Most Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero, the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka, Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra, Vice Chairman of Sriwijaya State Buddhist College, the Head of International Office, Dr. Udi Samanhudi, distinguished guests and participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. May peace be upon us. Good afternoon, Subha Sandiawak, and very warm welcome. First of all, I would like to thank to every one of you for attending International Webinar Faith and Religious Tolerance in Southeast Asia's higher education institutions. Talents and Prospects. This webinar is hosted by International Office of Unoversitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa in collaboration with the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka and Sriwijaya State Buddhist College. It is with great honor, my name is Mira Molani Utami. I will be taking the role of being master ceremony of this lovely webinar. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we kindly advise to every one of you to please remain seated because we would like to comment this program by singing the national anthem of Republik Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia Raya.
Indonesia tanah airku, tanah tumpah darahku. Di sanalah aku berdiri, jadi bangku ibuku. Indonesia kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Marilah kita berseru, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah tanahku, hiduplah negeriku, bangsaku, rakyatku semuanya. Bangunlah jiwanya, bangunlah badannya untuk Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, national anthem of Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka Mata, apa Sri Lanka, namo, 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 namo Mata. Sundara Sri Barimai, Surani Ati Chodama Lanka. Saka siri cita sadana, jiwanai mata. Ini anugerah atau bhakti Buddha, namo namo. Apa Sri Lanka, namo namo namo. Yang
Thank you very much. Now, before we move on to the main sessions, let's all have a group photo. Please kindly turn on your video on as we proceed. Please make sure that all your video are on within 1 minute. Thank you.
ID-nya 20 36
hidup.
15.
Yeah. So I will account for the first screen. Don't forget to cheers. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next. Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. Before we move on to the main sessions, let's bow our head and say the prayer.
Nggak ada suaranya.
Yeah. Moving on, we are now going to start our main sessions. I would like to invite our moderator for the main sessions. Please welcome Dr. Udi Samanhudi.
Right, thank you very much, Ibu Mira Maulani. Good afternoon. And again, thank you very much for attending this webinar to colleagues, our beloved colleagues from Indonesia and also from Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, religious tolerance has always served as shield against religious hatred. It allows different faiths to coexist at the same time and in space to form mutual cooperation and solidarity. And this in turn contributed to the peace and development of the country, the development of universal culture and also spirituality. Given the importance of religious tolerance, our webinar this afternoon time will be focused on bringing this issue further by focusing on religious tolerance, especially in higher education context in 2 different countries of Indonesia and Sri Lanka. And we also invite 3 respected scholars in the field to further details discuss this issue. We have, first of all, with us here, Professor Dr. Fatah Sulaiman, who is currently the Rector of Unoversitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa in Banten Province, Indonesia. And second, we have our Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero of the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka. Welcome, Professor, and thank you very much for attending this webinar. And last but not least, our respected colleagues, Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra from Sriwijaya State Buddhist College. He is currently the Vice Chairman of this college. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to begin this session, please join me welcome Professor Dr. Fatah Sulaiman to present his paper on tolerance, a key for harmony in diversity. Professor Fatah Sulaiman, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, everybody. The Honorable Dr. Sapardi, the Chairman of Sriwijaya State Buddhist College, the Honorable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero from the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka as keynote speaker, and Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra as keynote speaker from Sriwijaya State Buddhist College. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to greet other speakers on behalf of Unoversitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa. I would like to thank you for your willingness in sharing with us during this hard time Personally, I am also honored to be one of the speakers. I would also like to express my appreciation to the committee of the event. This is such a great collaboration among institutions, UNTIRTA, Sekolah Tinggi Agama Buddha Negeri, and partner university from Sri Lanka Buddhist and Pali College, Sri Lanka University. Hopefully, this webinar is one to many fruitful activities for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, well, in this opportunity, slide, please share my slide, the host, or, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, well, it is in this opportunity, I was given a chance to present what actually I have written 5 years ago. And I strongly believe this is still worth sharing. So allow me to share screen, more or less 8 slides. I put a title, Tolerance, a Key for Harmony in Diversity. As everybody knows that Indonesia is an archipelago with more than 300 million people. It is a home for cultural and religious diversity. There are more than 350 ethnic groups, more than 600 local languages, and diverse in religions, with Islam as the majority, followed by Christian, Protestant, Catholic, Buddhism, Hindu, and Konghucu. This richness has ultimately made Indonesia as a reference country for living in harmony among such diversities. Ladies and gentlemen, the key to live in harmony is by having tolerance within individual. The tolerance in Arabic called as samaha itself refers to a modern concept that describes a mutual respect and cooperation between different ethnic groups, language, culture, politics, and religions. In Indonesian context, effort to reawaken the life of the nation and state within the framework of the Republic of Indonesia is closely related to the quality of understanding of the society towards the values of tolerance. These values ought to be upheld by the Indonesian people due to the diversity of ethnic cultures, indigenous language, customs, and religions this country has. Since 14 centuries ago, Islam has clearly described the implementation of the tolerance concept is social life and in the life of the nation and states. According to Islamic teachings, tolerance is not only towards other humans, but also to the universe, animals, and even the life of the nature. A strong doctrine in Islam that is related to the concept of tolerance is rahmatan lil alamin. This doctrine of Islam as rahmatan lil alamin offers dialogue and tolerance. In the form of mutual respect, the religion realized that the diversity of mankind in religion and belief is the will of God. It cannot be compared. In the Quran, Allah clearly says, and if your Lord had willed, all would have believed, people on the whole earth. So do you would force people so that they become believers all? Mutual respect in faith and belief is an Islamic concept. The consequence of this principle of mutual respect is the spirit of taqwa as Muslim peoples. Taqwa to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would encourage the spirit for universal brotherhood among mankind. This is an example of tolerance in real life as taught by Islam. This brotherhood causes the protection of the rights of others and the acceptance of difference in an Islamic society. The universal brotherhood also involves the concept of justice, peace, and mutually beneficial cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, according to Dr. Syed Yusuf Al-Qardawi in this book, Ghairu al-Muslimin fi al-Mujtama al-Islami, mentions 4 factors that encourage an attitude of tolerance as follows. The first, belief in human dignity, regardless of religion, nationality, and ethnicity. This glory implies the right to be respected. The second, the belief that human difference in religion and belief is the reality ontological desired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has given them the freedom to choose faith or kufr. Therefore, it is not permissible to force them to Islam. And the third, a Muslim is not required to judge the disbelief of an infidel or punish the misguided people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge them on the day of judgment. The chapter of Al-Hajj, verse 69. The chapter and Al-Surah, verse 15 in the Holy Quran. Therefore, the heart of a Muslim would become, because there is no such an obligation to judge those people with other religions or the other beliefs. The chapter Al-Mumtahana, verse 8 in the Holy Quran. And the last, believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands to do justice and invites noble character, even to polytheists. The chapter At-Tawbah, verse 6 in the Holy Quran. Ladies and gentlemen, one of examples that recently occurred in Indonesia is an activity organized by Ministry of Religious Affairs that is pray together in a fight for pandemic. The prayer was led by every religious leaders in Indonesia. One of the purpose is to hand in hand together, no matter what they believe in, as Indonesian people who have a strong faith and a tolerance among others. We have the same vision and hope for the pandemic to come to an end. As in our institution, as State University in Banten Province, Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa University, we strongly convinced that the tolerance is also upheld because unity of the nation is as important as belief of every individual. So if an academician has a strong faith and keeps being taqwa to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this individual will become one of the pillars in the unity of the nation. Several activities and programs that supported a tolerant aspects are meticulously designed to suit the needs of all stakeholders. Take for the example, with partner university, we create social action internship for nationalism, KKN kebangsaan, that aims to provide a community service from university. to the society to strengthen the nation, regardless their beliefs and religious practice. In short, Islam asserts that difference in race, ethnicity, culture, and religion are sunnatullah, or natural conditions, God's provision. This natural diversity should not be used as a measure of glory and self-esteem. The best measure toward human being would be his or her piety and social piety, as described in the Word of God, the chapter Al-Hujurat, verse 13 in the Holy Quran. Ladies and gentlemen, the principle of Muslim relations with other peoples must be established on the basis of values equality, tolerance, justice, freedom, and brotherhood, humanity. Al-Ihwah al-Insaniyah in Arabic. Understanding and implementing Islamic principles or perspective of the values of tolerance to build social relations. Both intra and inter-religious communities will be able to reduce and prevent potential radicalism, terrorism, and anarchism in society. Islamic concept proves that the teachings of Islam are universal, very tolerant, and respecting diversity as a sunnatullah, as well as proving that Islam is anti-radicalism and doesn't tolerate violence or violent acts of terror. The Quranic values mentioned above are the essence of tolerance, recommended Islam as the main foundation for relation backgrounds, difference in race, ethnicity, religion, language, and culture. Understanding these values is also
Check.
happy to have discussion. Thank you for listening. I pass again to the moderator. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Pak Rector, Professor Dr. Fatah Sulaiman. Thank you so much for very interesting paper about the tolerance as a key for harmony in diversity. And one thing to highlight, which I think also very interesting, is that the key to have to live in harmony among diversity is by having tolerance. And another issue, which again worth highlighting, is the fact that tolerance in Islam is not something new. We have a doctrine called Rahmatan lil Alamin, as has been emphasized by Pak Rector. We have tolerance in Islam, which is similar to what we call as mutual respect. At least there are three important issues when we speak about the mutual respect according to his presentation. This would include, for example, the mutual respect itself among human beings, universal brotherhood, and then protections of the right and acceptance of differences. Thank you once again, Professor Dr. Fatah Sulaiman, for the presentation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to the question and answer sessions, I would like to invite the second speaker for this webinar. We have our second keynote speaker from Sri Lanka, our Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero from the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka. In this session, she will be presenting a paper with the title Faith, Religious Tolerance, and University. Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero, the screen is yours.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think all of you can hear me. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to join with this conference organized by Sriwijaya State Buddhist University in Indonesia. As it seems, it is very well organized conference. I'm very happy to see that nicely organized conference. First of all, I am grateful to Dr. Edi and the organizing committee for inviting me to participate and deliver a speech at this occasion. The aim of this conference, as I understand, is to establish religious tolerance, peace, harmony, and mutual coexistence, not only in Indonesia, but also throughout the world. Today, my topic is the faith, religious tolerance, and university. We can say, in other words, we can say higher education. Can you display my presentation? It is not available, I think. I have sent my PowerPoint presentation. Is it displaying?
We will help you, Professor.
Okay. Shall I wait for a moment?
Yes, please.
Yes, it's okay. Thank you very much. The topic of my speech is faith, religious tolerance, and university. It can be changed as education. So my speech, I'm going to deliver my speech on following lines. Please, next. Yes. I'm going to discuss under following lines positions of human being on earth, then responsibility of mankind, of the world, distinguishing features of desire, equality of human being, religion is for the happiness of mankind, my doxy is the doxy, other doxies are heterodoxies. The next. The golden rule, prejudice and discrimination in education, requirement of inner peace, one who knows one knows none, everyone's hope, and conclusion. Please, next. The first line is position of human being on earth. The man is the most prominent being on earth because of his super intelligence. It is accepted equally in all religion that human being is most superior being on earth. He can highly dominate to the world. Only Buddhism accepted the birth of human being is rare, and human being is very superior to other being, and also other religions concerned, especially theistic religion, consider human being as is created according to the image of God. That means every individual, every human being possesses godly characters. Therefore, human being is most superior to other beings on earth. and he is very dominant in the society, in the world, happiness of the world and also unhappiness, security and insecurity of the world, pleasantness and unpleasantness of the world.
Nggih, Mbak. Sekedap, nggih.
Blessings and misery of the world all depend on the way of thinking, way of thinking of the man. So man can dominate to the society for its well-being or happiness or misery of the world. Therefore, man is the most dominant being on earth. Man has the power to make this earth a heaven or hell. Please, next. Next, please. Yes, responsibility of man. So, so man is the responsible for making this earth an amiable place where there is no greed, no hatred, no delusion, no jealousy, no enmity, no ill will. Or greed, anger, hatred, and enmity, jealousy, and ill will are the evil psychic characters. And if we control these evil psychic characters, we can make this earth a amiable place. And academic of higher education, I think, have a responsibility to find in ways and make this world a peaceful place to live in. Therefore, academics are most responsible to find out ways and means in order to make this earth, make this planet a peaceful place to live in. Please, next one. Considering the situation of the world, Buddha has interpreted this earth as a place where it is burning. He says, burning, burning, all is burning. The eye is burning, the visual forms are burning. Visual impressions are burning, visual consciousness is burning. Mind is burning, burning with what? Burning with fire of lust, with the fire of hatred, with the fire of delusion. And similarly, our ear is burning, our nose is burning, our tongue is burning, our body is burning, and also the consciousness related with each organ are burning. In short, all the world is burning, according to the Buddha. Burning with what? Burning with fire of lust and fire of hatred and fire of delusion. Please, next. So how to extinguish the fire of desire? It can be extinguished. The fire of lust can be extinguished with the water of pity and detachment. And we can fire of hate with the water of love and compassion. We can extinguish the fire of delusion with the water of understanding and wisdom. This positive attitude comes from religion. Therefore, I think religion must be go together with education, or education must go together with religion, and at least there must be the religion education has to be implemented in our educational curriculum, because it is very timely needed to make timely needed to create virtuous people. It is time to uproot past negative memories and memories. That means we are always fighting and we are having conflicts in the world, thinking of our past memories, what has been done in the past, what others has done towards us, and always thinking about our negative things and what they have done in the past and going to retaliate against it. Instead of thinking the negatively or thinking the negative memories, we have to plant the seed of benevolence, kindness, righteousness, sincerity, and positive thoughts with each individual. Then only we can create a benevolent society, peaceful society, that we can live peacefully on earth. Next, please. Equality of human being is highly considered in Buddhism, and according to Buddhism, all human beings are equal to each other. And whatever religion we believe, whatever the nationality that we are belong to, whatever the country that we are born, whatever the ethnic group that we are possessed, whatever the dress we are wearing, whatever the complexion that we are having, whatever the language that we are speaking, taking these points into account, we cannot divide human being. All the human beings are equal, whatever the religion, nationality, country, ethnic group, dress, complexion, and language that we are using. Therefore, all of us are, wherever we are living, whatever we are doing, we all are human beings. That is the most most important thing that we have to consider, and we have to implement humanistic society. All the human possess the same biological formation and similar autonomy. The blood of Buddhist is as same as the blood of Islam, and blood of white people is same as blood of black people. Now we are living in the age of transplantation. So thinking about those things, we can create harmonious society irrespective of the religion, nationality, or country, or ethnic group, whatever we are considering illusionary. Humanity, mutual love, faith, respect, and understanding are of vital necessity at present. So we all have to think others in the same way that we are in the position of oneself, and all like to live peacefully, happily, and all like to lead a very prosperous life. We have to think others in the place of oneself. It is very important it is very important to eradicate the issues that we are facing and to create a peaceful and harmonious society in the world. Please, next. Yes, religion is for the happiness of mankind. All the religions were born for the well-being and happiness of the mankind, and not for the destruction of suffering. When we look into the scriptures of all traditions, all religions, we can see founders of religion and religious leaders and spiritual leaders fully devoted their lives to uplift humanity and eradicate the evil from the society and to bring peace and happiness to the world. So we can see sometimes some religions, on the basis of religion, people have created a lot of problems, but we have to think religion is for the well-being of the society, for living a peaceful life, and not for the not for making harm to others. All religions are equal in this respect. All are pointing, all are guide us to have a very peaceful life. We have to respect them and follow the teachings of all the religion other than the religion that we are believing in. Next one. My doxy is doxy, other doxies are heterodoxies. All of us are led by conceit. What I am thinking is correct and what other way of thinking is incorrect. That is how we are thinking. My opinion is right opinion, other opinions are not right. And what I am thinking is correct, what others thinking are not correct. We are not ready to accept the view of others. We are not ready to accept the religion of others. We are not ready to accept the truth of other religion. When we look into each religion possesses very valuable teachings that can be put into practice. But what we are doing out of our conceit or I and mind attachment, we always try to appreciate one thing and denounce others. They think what I am believing is the right, my religion is the only right religion, other religions are not right, misbeliefs. So that we have to eradicate it, and we have to train to see all the religion and cultural and traditions, and we must be able to appreciate the good things of other religions and while rejecting the bad things. Therefore, I think this notion has to be eradicated from our mind. Next, please. So, he's explaining the same thing. My doxy is the doxy, other doxies are heterodoxies. Human beings were born without religion, and humanity is the first factor and religion is the secondary factor. This we have to accept it. What we are thinking is, our way of thinking is religion is first. It is not so. Religion is secondary factor. All of us, after we born, after our birth on this earth, religion, what religion we are belong is decided. For instance, actually religion is based on cultural, religious, and social background where we are born. If I were born in Middle East, I would be a Muslim. Sometimes I may be a Maulavi in that religion. If Arabian people born in India, he may be either Hindu or Buddhist or some other religion. So religion is decided according to the socio-religious and cultural background where one is born. So humanity is the first, religion is the second. But what happened nowadays is religion comes first and humanity considered second. Therefore, with the misunderstanding of this fact, people think religion is the first. For the sake of religion, some people try to do anything, either good or bad. It is wrong, because we all are human beings. We have to, whatever religion we are believing, we have to think in the humanistic way. All of human beings are similar feelings. All of the human beings led by similar psychological characteristics. Therefore, we have to give priority to the humanity. Then the religion. Religion is not the first. Humanity is the first. After we were born, the religion comes. Therefore, we have to think our humanity and the way of religion that we have to practice. We human beings conceptually bounded to fight in the name of religion, forgetting the humanity. So we have to consider all the throughout the world, everywhere in the world, all the whatever the belief system, whatever the religion they are believing, they all are human beings. Because of the human being, they have religion. Animals don't have religion. As we are born as a human, that is why we have a religion. No other beings having religion. Because of we are human beings, we are having religion. So therefore, we can see that humanity is the first. If you are not human being, no religion. We must respect the tradition of others as we respect our own faith, as we respect our own faith. So it is very important teaching of the Buddha, and Buddha visited the other place of other religions, and Buddha discussed with them, sometimes had debates with them, some arguments with them, and sometimes Buddha adapted the teachings of other religions to one's own tradition, and he respected where respect should go. And similar way, we have to think, we have to respect other religions as we respect our own religion. It is the way that Buddha followed. It is the way that Emperor Asoka followed in India. Therefore, it is the way for peace and way for happiness, way for cooperation with diverse society. And I think the curriculum of the primary education and higher education should be aimed at building mutual respect. And it is very vital necessity, because religion is the thing that we need most to solve the problems that we are facing. Please, next one. Yes. Future generations should be trained to respect and sustain other religions. All of us as human beings, we are belong to one or other religion. The difference between religion, there are some differences between religions, and we have to understand those differences. But religions are same. We have to respect one's religion, others' religion, as we respect one's own religion. And no religion expect human to kill each other in the name of religion. So we can see, without understanding of the human nature, we kill people in the name of religion. I think that is wrong, because religion is secondary factor. Humanity is the first factor. First, we have to think all are human beings, whatever the religion we are believing. Humans should learn to heal the wounded heart and souls through the religious teachings, and without trying to originate destruction or any type of catastrophe. So in the world, there are many religions and religious believers. We have to understand each other, we have to respect each other, and we have to follow the good teachings, whatever the religious banner they are possessing. For taking Buddhism as example, loving kindness, compassion are the things that we can practice as human beings, whatever the religion we are believing. We must be able to catch the good thing and lose the bad thing. So every religion have some good characteristics. We have to learn them. We have to respect them. We have to follow them. No harm. Whatever the religion we are believing, if we are practicing good things, that is very good for the society. Please, next one. Golden rule. Humans fight with each other ruthlessly for selfish and personal gain without thinking about others. The golden rule that every religion, the core teachings of every religion, co-ethical conduct of core rules of every religion is to think about others, placing oneself on the position, on their position, is the core teaching of moral conduct in many religions. Curriculum of universities should be designed not only for material prosperity and material prosperity and inventions, but also to produce virtuous, affectionate, cultivated, disciplined, and amiable intellectuals. Our education is mostly aimed at producing doctors, engineers, scientists, technicians. They are needed. They are very much needed for development of the world. But we have, at the same time, we have to think of the virtuous conduct. The technicians or doctor, engineer who is without virtuous loving kindness and compassion or virtuous characters or affectionation and cultivate good discipline, they are useless. They bring harm to the world. So therefore, education should be go hand in hand with virtuous conduct or moral conduct. And we must emphasize that morality should go together with education. So education not only should be aimed at producing doctors, engineers, and technicians, but also virtuous people. Please next. Prejudice and discrimination. Buddha denied socio-political prejudice and discrimination at the time. We can see in Buddhist canon, at the time of Buddha, various social injustice and discriminations prevailed, but Buddha denied them and make a peaceful society, equal society that can be enjoyed everybody equally. He had profound knowledge on other religions. So we can see Buddha debated with many people, many religious leaders, and also many philosophers. And if Buddha did not have proper knowledge of their teaching, he cannot argue with them. Buddha had the knowledge of one's own tradition as well as tradition of others. Similarly, we have to have the knowledge of other religion. Buddhists have the knowledge of, Buddhists must have knowledge of Christianity. They must have knowledge of Islam. And we have to cultivate our knowledge, improve our knowledge, not only one's own religion, but what other religions are saying. There are good things that we can follow. Therefore, we have to learn the religion of others, not only one's own religion. Buddha preached and applied the teachings of other religions to his own. So he did not reject the other good things in other religions. He learned them and applied. He practiced and applied those good things in other religions to one's own religion. He visited the place of other religions and leaders and practitioners. Now, religious institutions are closed for other practitioners. It should not be there. It should be open. The Buddhist temple have to be open for other religions. Christian mosque have to open for others to view it, or in order or to understand it. We have to learn Quran. We have to learn Bible. We have to learn Buddhist scriptures. Then our knowledge will be improved. We can distinguish what is good and bad. So that is, I think, a necessity at present. Buddha had argument with and debates with them and convinced the truth and reality. He opened his doctrine for the verification and did not expect religious conversion. So that is very important. We have to deal with others, not to convert them, but just to understand and mutual understanding to improve our knowledge. So I think it is vital necessity for us to visit others, to have discussed with others. We have to read the books of others. So then we can, we ourselves can understand what is right thing, what is wrong thing, without harming one's own religion. That is, I think, very crucial, important at this moment. So next, please.
Yeah, Professor, excuse me, before continuing to the next slide, I would just like to remind you for the time. We have 5 to 7 minutes left for your presentation.
Okay,
Yeah,
I will.
thank you very much.
I will. Okay, please next. Next, please. Then the psychological requirement of inner peace are psychological roots. Psychological roots are desire, hatred, delusion are the main roots of war, conflict, and violence according to Buddhism. So we have to, if we eradicate those things, there will be no conflict in the world. Disorder and calamity in society are outward manifestation of the lack of peace in mind. An individual, and they are largely the symptoms of diseased mind. So all the conflicts are born in mind. So if we cultivate our mind, there will be no conflict. An individual who has obtained inner peace is the one who has overcome all the conflicts and one who has ended the misery and live unaffected by the vicissitude of nature. Please next. Next, please. A person with peaceful mind can live at peace even in the environment where the peace is absent. The lotus symbolize how we have to live uncontaminated with evil things. Buddhism speaks of possibility of gain such inner transformation which enable the people to live at ease amidst people who are malicious, vicious, selfish, and harmful. Therefore, the mind culture should be made a part of curriculum, whatever the subject area that focus in the higher education. Please next. Next, please. First, the one who knows one knows none. University should be a place where there should be freedom of education and research. Opportunity should be provided to learn and research on ancient tradition, cultures, and civilization without any conceptual boundary. Their religion should not be a barrier to achieve their aim. Religious tolerance should be practiced and taught in the university. Please next. Next, please. Everybody's hope. Everyone wants to spend a life without fear, anger, hatred, suffering, and pain. The solution lies within oneself. But the paradox is one who wishes a peaceful life work against by him or her. We can see those who are propagating peace are the people who are creating conflict in the world. So we can understand those things. We can fulfill our hopes if we can respect and grab the positive teachings of other religions. Next, please. Once the chief god of the gods asked the Buddha, "O Lord," "O Lord, God, men, different type of communities are desirous of living without enmity, without arms, without enemies. But paradox is, but all of them live with enmity, hatred, arms, and Lord. We like to live a peaceful life, but at the same time, we are manifesting weapons and those things. That is how we are living. We like peace, but at the same time, we develop the conflict. The question asked in 6th century BC is equally applicable to the 20th. We should love and promote peace in our higher education institution as well. My conclusion is, next one. Human has responsibility to protect the world, including their own mankind. Desire is dangerous fire, which should be extinguished by ourselves. Equality should be grown, and discrimination, prejudice, and selfishness should be eradicated from our mind, planted in our mind. We should try to use the religious teaching for the betterment of mankind. University is one of the best places to launch the mission of love and peace. So, thank you very much for listening. I have to explain a lot, but there is no limited time. If any inconvenience with my time management, I'm very sorry for it. Thank you, listening.
Great, thank you very much, Professor. Thank you so much, and it's very interesting. One thing that I think everyone would need again to listen is that religion is for happiness of mankind, and tolerance and mutual respects are two important means for us to be able to create a more peaceful life. And this is very important to be brought into curriculum in both university and school level. Thank you very much once again, Professor. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the next presentation. So we would have an issue about strengthening and heightening religious tolerance in higher education institution, educators' viewpoint. And this will be brought and presented by our lovely colleague from Sriwijaya State Buddhist College, Indonesia. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra.
Thank you, my dear brother, Dr. Udi Samanhudi from UNTIRTA Serang, Banten. It is selfishly privileged to be the third speaker because I don't need to present the whole materials rather than just put some adds on to what Pak Rectors and Most Venerable have presented a while ago. Okay. I think we are agreed that the term mutual coexistence, religious tolerance, religious harmony have been taught, deeply rooted into what we call as a religious institution. We heard the term Islam Rahmatan lil Alamin, and also explanation from Most Venerable Gallelle Sumanasiri, who mentioned that every religion, including Islamic studies and Buddhist studies, have already explained us about the mutual relationship among human beings and how the respect for human dignity, tolerance, and the diverse ontological aspect, the reality where the world we live right now. But the questions now is that how we are supposed to strengthen and to heighten those religious tolerance, especially in the higher education institution context. More specifically, when we talk about what are the roles of the educators or the lecturers or the community, academic community in campus. So in order to address those loopholes, I entitled my presentations namely strengthening and heightening religious tolerance in higher education institutions. I put the highlight the term educators viewpoint because I myself deem as teachers and educators in higher education institution. First offer come into my mind when I'm trying to look deeper into literature discussions about religious tolerance was addressed by James Fowler's. This concept is very popular, used by psychological academia, addresses the term stage of fate. It was very old and classic theory, but it's still relevant. When we talk about the growth of religious stages when people grown up, starting from their being birthed as a baby, and then as a children, as a teenage, and as adult. There is a stage when people raise their intuitive values of religions until they've used religion as universalizing faith. And James followers happen to explain that for those who lives in the full service of others without any real or worries or doubt, it is dedicated to what we call as they are already achieving the term universalizing faith. So when we talk about symbolic system, institutional background of religion in each of the religion that we know today, it may be around maybe middle or bottom level of what followers mention as intuitive projective. But then if we talk about days ago, I have very small discussion with Pak Udi talking about ma'rifat, the final stages when we understand religion as a universal values. It maybe goes to what James Fowler's mentioned as universalizing faith. Because when we reach this level, we see human as a reality of what God has already presented to us. The God that we believe as one created this world and the universe as what we should understand as the ontological perspective, as the way it is, as the reality that we need to accept. So if we talk about religious tolerance that must be imparted in higher education institution, I think it come up to in my mind that I think it is time to realize that religion should not be treated as intuitive projective, but rather goes into the next level of the religious teaching as universalizing faith. And the indicators of being universalizing in faith is to accept the diversity of religious diversity. And once we can practice, call it as religious tolerance. The honorary rectors and venerable professors. As we know that the goal of every education in the world supposes at least 4 pillars of education. First, they need to have knowledge. After having knowledge, they need to practice the knowledge for the sake of human being. And then they need to find their self-esteem, whether to be professional, to be identity in social and community. And then the final stage of having knowledge is when we have wisdom. When we have wisdom, we can see the ontological or the reality of this life is really diverse, and we accept those reality and we use them to jump into a life, to cross over the community and the citizen of the world to live together. Imagine that, what if as an educators, we stop teaching religious ethics, stopping at learning to know. So there's only following orders in the text, but they don't see how the world goes, how the situation of the world. And then later on, I'm going to show you why we need to strengthen and hastening the 4 pillars of education from UNESCO. And one of the noble destination that every educator should achieve in their education is learning to live together. Because when we already know how to live together, it is the stage when we have a wisdom. Wisdom is the state of acceptance, open the reality as it is, because we are diverse in terms of cultural, political, historical aspect, and also religious aspect. That's because the reality of the world goes like today. So every educators need to address their pedagogical affordances, not only to stop by imparting religious ethics in knowledge aspects, but move on to what we call as learning to live together, so that they can have wisdom. Actually, when we try to look back and trace back to our running regulation for higher education, especially in Indonesian context, giving religious tolerance values in every campus in Indonesia is not an optional. It is a mandatory. Maybe Pak Rector will further elaborate what is presented, displayed there in the Minister Rules number 3, 2020, or what we have already known as Standar Nasional Pendidikan Tinggi, that in the aspect of attitude every graduate from higher education, either from academic, vocational, and professional program, is required to have at least, I quoted only two sections from the regulation. B, to uphold the value of humanity in conducting duties based on religions, morality, and ethics. And E, to respect the diversity of religions, culture, perspectives, arguments, faith, and original invention of others. So we can see clearly here that imparting religious tolerance, as what already have been mentioned a while ago by Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri, is not an optional, or it is not a local laws that need to be added on in our courses, but it is a mandatory from our national standardization of curriculum. So when we talk about curriculum and how we integrate those values, it is not again about how we combine them, but they should have them, the attitude, the knowledge, the general skills, and specific skills. In Bahasa Indonesia, we translate it into sikap, pengetahuan, keterampilan umum, dan keterampilan khusus. So it is mandatory, it is not the optional. And then again, the big questions now is how to internalize those principles of religious tolerance in higher education, especially in our Indonesian higher education system. Or maybe it goes the same way in Sri Lankan context. Maybe we can hear further from Professor Sumanasiri, that there are 4 quadrants that need to be addressed by every lecturers, every educators in Indonesia. First is to implicit in mono-religious educations, in the curriculum, inside of the curriculum. It is very interesting when Professor Fatah mentioned that Islamic studies, when it comes to the state or the stage when we respect humanity, it looks like there is no difference between Buddhists or even Christian or maybe Hindus when we talk about the values and the dignity of human being. And then the second quadrant, we talk about the co-curriculum. It is implicit in the general courses or maybe hidden curriculum. So every lecturers, regardless whether they are teaching secular knowledge, science knowledge, or every courses that presented in the standard of the curriculum should impart the values of religious tolerance, not because it is should be imparted, but because it is the mandatory in the national standard regulation. The third quadrant is by imparting them into extra curriculum. We know that in campus nowadays, students not only learn about academics, but they are highly participating in non-academic activities like UKM, extracurricular, and so on and so forth. And the values of religious tolerance, mutual coexistence, religious harmony can be embedded in students' activities. And this so far we have been doing in Sriwijaya State Buddhist College of Tangerang, Banten. In my campus in Sriwijaya, the lecturers are not only Buddhists. So Pak Rector know about it very well, that even though we are Sekolah Tinggi Agama Buddha Negeri Sriwijaya, but our lecturers, our civil servant lecturers, our permanent civil servant lecturers can be from Muslim. We have from Hinduism and from Catholic and Protestant. And the fourth quadrant is by combining those 3 quadrants in the holistic curriculum. It is what we call as institutional efforts to impart religious tolerance. So that's why every decisions made, every policies created by the stakeholders of the campus, in this case maybe Pak Ketua or Pak Rector, should covering these 3 quadrants in order to accommodate the religious tolerance in higher education context. Last but not least is the way how every teachers, every academia look deeper into how to tailor global competence. Like Pak Udi, my dear fellows, the head of international office in UNTIRTA, how do this body, how do these units will work internationally if the people inside of the EO have not willingness to go into the diversity of the world. How would this body will communicate, collaborate, doing critical thinking, or doing creations to make the international surroundings established, without seeing that the nature of the world is diverse, especially when we talk about Southeast Asian context. Southeast Asian context is the home of two biggest religions in Asia, Buddhist and Islam. So if we talk about what is the aim for today's webinar, the aim is to give us a view. The natures of Southeast Asia's context is the home for two big religious communities that consist of Buddhist and Islam. So in order to make global competence be tailored in terms of the campus activities, we should understand the nature of the world and how we make communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity becomes a holistic part of how to teach our students, how to educate our academic fellows to aware that, okay, the world is diverse and we need to practice to carry out our global competence into the real context. So those things may be taken into consideration. In fact, the religious tolerance in Southeast Asia's context is the most diverse in the world. Imagine in maybe in Europe or maybe in the US continent, it's very easy to see the proponents of Catholic Church or Protestant communities. But in Southeast Asia, over 5 or maybe more than 5 religious communities lived in these regions. As we can see, the Brunei Darussalam, Myanmar, Cambodia, Indonesia, including our country, Laos, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, Timor-Leste, they are very diverse in terms of the religious communities. So we are very rich of it. But then it brings two-sided challenge. First, it can be a prospect, and number 2, it can be a challenge. Prospect, because we can learn a lot about this multicultural backgrounds and we can exploit them as the way how we teach global competence, religious tolerance, religious harmony, and the other aspects of humanities. But then it also invites challenge. How to sustain, how to keep this harmony long last. It's just like a setting of fire. Not everyone's like peace. Not everyone's like harmony. They can take the situations as the lure post to burn the fire and it becomes conflict. And we also have, witnessing and we gaze a lot of cases, conflict have been burned and crackdowns previous ago that caused by the conflict based on religious related belief. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellows, in my opinion, as the world, including in Southeast Asia regions, most likely to be prescribed by a difference of religious identity, we know that there are so many identities we belong, but it looks most likely that the difference of this world, the citizen of this world, especially in Southeast Asia, is likely to be prescribed by the religious identity. The communal become fragile and sensitive. As we know that every state, every nation has their own historical, political, maybe socio-economical problems. When it goes into internet, when it goes into the digital discourse, sometimes it invites sensitive issues and raises more religious awareness towards against religious solidarity. Let's take as example, for instance, the case in Rakhine State in Myanmar. How the situation in Myanmar state brings a bit heat in our home country like Indonesia. Maybe the situation in Brunei Darussalam, or maybe the conservatism of Sharia law in Aceh in Indonesia, also understood differently by Buddhist or maybe different religious communities outside Indonesia. In fact, every every state has their own problems, their own sovereignty problems, their own home problems. And this thing should be anticipated. Otherwise, it becomes so fragile and sensitive to be addressed. So what we can do to address the problems? I propose to solutive paradigm in order to address the religious harmony and religious tolerance in Southeast Asia. First is state actions. Our political leaders, our regional forums, such as our stakeholders in ASEAN, should take care of these issues and anticipate the situations of very multicultural context of our regions in Southeast Asia. And number two is non-state. The media and the civil society and the educators, where the higher education institution belongs, should take part to fight and uphold the equality and equity for religious communities in Southeast Asia. Otherwise, if this two-way solutive proposal cannot be implemented appropriately, there always be an imminent threat of the religious conflict among the religious communities that I call sensitive and fragile in Southeast Asian context. And the education should be brought into the next level by imparting religious tolerance. So because I mentioned a while ago, Rector and Professor Sumanasiri, as educators and lecturers in campus, I bring three practical implications of my presentations. Just like writing research, yeah, there should be always a practical implication or pedagogical implication. Otherwise, what we have already mentioned will be false away into the air. So we need to put it into the right context. First, the teaching of the mono-religious studies should be moved from textual to contextual. We need to teach our academia, our students, to be more aware of the digital literacy, how to hold hoaxes, falsifying informations, the potentials of brainwash by transnational ideologies, and so on and so forth. Number three is to bring monolithic way of teaching religion to the holistic. We should train them and give them know about the ontological realities of the world, that today we are so multicultural and diverse in every aspect of life, including the nature of the world and how human live in the world, including the religious identity. The third one is to train our students, our academic communities, not to do self-transformation, but rather to do social transformations. So religion must be brought into contextual equilibrium, not only talk about the doctrinal point of view, but to bring religions as a code of conduct of the ethics. Maybe we can go deeper into this research later on, Rector, by doing collaborative research with Buddhist and Pali University and cooperated with Sriwijaya. Maybe we can make research or maybe publication how to use Islamic studies to be environmental ethics, for example. How to use Buddhist studies to humanity ethics, for example, because that's what we need today. Religions must be brought into the celestial position, into down to earth, and we can see the values of the religion as the solutive to live together, as what UNESCO already stated in the 4 pillars of the educations. Now the question is that $100 question is that, is it doable? Yeah, the big question is left remains to us and educators, as a rectors, as a chief, as a professor, as a doctors, as a students. The questions is left to us right now, is it doable? And I prefer to answer, is it doable or not, by quoting what Most Venerable His Holiness Dalai Lama mentions when once he asked by the Secretary General of United Nations, Dalai Lama, what is your religions? My religion is very simple. My religion is kindness. And then Dalai Lama continues to explain is that when you are Buddhist, even when you are Islam, and then you convict again to Hinduism, and then within 5 years to convict again to Catholic or Protestant, if you still commit to do kindness, that is a good religion. So keep continuing. Otherwise, if you do bad things, you do evil things behind all these things, no matter what your religion is, you are not kind and you are not belong to one or any certain religion. So thank you very much, Pak Udi.
Thank you very much. Such an excellent and thoughtful presentation on the issue of strengthening and heightening religious tolerance in higher education context. You are right, Dr. Edi, that religious tolerance does exist already in our higher education context, but the question is that how we as educators could maximize this issue of tolerance in our curriculum, given the fact that religious tolerance has also been mandatory as indicated by the curriculum that highlights this issue. Great, thank you very much to our respected speakers, Professor Fatah Sulaiman, and then our Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero, and then our colleagues our respected colleague, Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra. We'll move on, ladies and gentlemen, to the next session, which is question and answer. We will finish this event by 3:30. So unfortunately, we previously planned to have 2 sessions for question and answers, but because the time is quite limited, so we would then only invite 3 questions and only for 1 session in question and answer session. So please raise your hand for 3 questions. Raise your hand if you would like to ask your question verbally. You may on cam and then ask question, or feel free to write in the chat box. Question, please. Okay, Bu Dina, would you like to?
Actually, sorry, I cannot. I don't know. I have a problem with the camera. But
Right,
two participants are raising their hands. The first is Alfian, and the other one is.
All right, thank you.
UNTIRTA. I don't know.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alfian Fajri Nasrullah. Please raise. Please ask the question. Yeah, Alfian. Alfian, are you there?
Or FKIP UNTIRTA, Pak Udi.
Or FKIP UNTIRTA, ya. Muhammad
Agus Ardiansyah.
Yeah, Muhammad Agus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the time that has been given to me. Okay. My name is Agus. I'm the lecturer in Teachers Training and Education Faculty. So my question, I also concerned about the religion teaching in the university. So in most public universities, we only teach the one religion. For example, if you are Islam, then you go to the Islam class during the religion subject, and you are Christian, you go to the Christian class during the religion subject. So it's applied in most public university in Indonesia. So my question is, like, why don't we, as the public university sectors, apply that we learn or we study every religion that is applied in Indonesia? So we take religion we learn religion as the learning approach, not just like sitting and listening to the our priests or the person who are good in a particular religion. Like in Sanata Dharma, Yogyakarta, this is a Catholic private university. I think this is one of the good examples in Indonesia that they use religion as the learning approach. So not only they learn their particular religion, they also learn the other religions. For example, in this week they invite ustaz, and next week they invite the priest from the Catholic. So the students will have a broad, a wider knowledge about religions in Indonesia. Not only learning their own religion that they have been taught ever since they were children.
Right.
So I think that's my question. Why don't we apply that? Okay, thank you.
Okay. So are you addressing your questions to one of the speakers or to the three of them?
Well, actually, I also want to know how do the Sri Lankan university teach their religion in the private or public university? Yeah, thank you.
Right. So I would like to invite Pak Rector. Would you like to respond to the question, Pak? Or maybe
Sri Lankan
one more question from Faisal. Yeah, list by two question.
Oh yeah. Okay. Maybe before answering the question from Pak Muhammad, Pak Alfian.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. If you could be on cam and then ask questions directly to the presenter, that would be appreciated.
Okay, thank you for the time. For first time, I'd like to say sorry because I couldn't open camera because of the connection. So just directly to my question, I'd like to ask about the issues that found in Indonesia, especially. You know that maybe there will be some different issues in every places, but the issues that I found, we know that in higher education, the student not only participating the academic organization or activity, but also participating non-academic organization or activity. Sometimes when the election of the leader of that organization, it could be found intolerance. The minority, they don't brave to elect. I mean, yeah. sorry, I'm so nervous. Yet, my question is that how to face or how to solve the intolerance in non-academic organization or activity, especially in the leadership election. That's all.
Right. Thank you very much. Any speaker or presenters would like to respond to the two questions? Or we would like then to invite Professor Fatah or our respected, our Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri to respond. Oh yes, please. Yes, please, Professor.
I couldn't follow what his question is. That's the reason.
Right. Alfian question is about how to face intolerant problems happening outside the academic community. For example, in general, could be in society. And then question number one is tolerant as an approach in university or.
I will answer. Okay.
Yeah.
The religious intolerance can happen everywhere in the world. Some others are religious-minded people, and some others are normal people. So it can be happen everywhere. Conflict can be happen everywhere in the world, even in minor reasons. So there should be some organized community to involve in such occasion. Sri Lanka is practicing it. If something happens somewhere religiously, religious leaders come together and discuss the matter, and they involve in resolving those problems. That is the way that we have to apply. We should not think everyone think in the same way, because people are different. There are good people as well as bad people. So we have to understand it and we have to face it successfully. That's my answer.
Right. Thank you, Professor. Dr. Edi, would you like to respond to the two questions?
Yeah, I probably jump into the first question raised by Pak Muhammad. Yeah. Well, to change the policy is not easy as pulling back our palms, like transforming from monolithic ways of teaching religious studies into holistic one. But again, I say that this is a challenge for us, that we don't need to change to a particular religion, or it is not necessarily to be converted to one particular religions. But I believe, and I strongly believe, that in each of the religions, there always be a chance for us to contextualize what we learn from our respected religions. For examples, I myself graduated from Muhammadiyah University. Well, I'm a Buddhist. I learned Kemuhammadiyahan. At that time, my professors were Professor Din Samsudin and Professor Abdul Mukti, who happens to be the leaders of Muhammadiyah, the largest Islamic organization in Indonesia, behind NU. My paper at that time was rather confusing. I need to rephrase what does it mean by fastahabikul al-khairat. In a Buddhist perspective, I go deeper into my scriptures. I try to trace back what does it mean by fastahabikul al-khairat. And I happen to find those terms is only just rephrased in two different languages, but it still talks about the values of having the way people should gain much and more chances to do loving kindness, to practice compassion to any sentient human being that lives in our coexistence. So I do believe that the term also, I heard a lot of people who practice, who really love the countries and religions, like what the philosophy of Nahdlatul Ulama, that hubul waton milal iman, for example. Hubul waton milal iman is also one of the great teachings of the Buddha when he explained about how to separate ourselves as a citizen of the world, as the citizen of each country, and as the citizen of the human existence. So that's when we comes up into the term humanities, we have reached into what I mentioned ago, what Fowler's mentioned as universalizing the faith. And when we come to the universalizing faith, we talk about religions, the essence of the religions in the text, and then apply them into the real context of the life, of the contextual life. That's the challenge for us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Edi. And now we'd like to invite Pak Rector, who would probably respond to the two questions. Professor.
Okay, I want to answer from Mr. Muhammad from FKIP UNTIRTA. Sorry, I don't clear for question from Mr. Alfian. I only answer for Mr. Muhammad from FKIP.
No problem, sir.
Actually, in our campus, University of Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa, as state university, there are no such rules that govern a student cannot join other religions course. But university has mandatory to provide the lecturers from other religion and a choice class for them outside the university. That is our what our policy in our campus. And I think your question will match to an informal course in a group discussion. I think my answer to question from Mr. Muhammad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. I don't think we have more time left, ladies and gentlemen, for question and answer session. So this is the end of the question and answer session, which also marked the end of our discussion in this international webinar. 3 topics have been well presented and discussed by our 3 presenters this afternoon time. The very first topic was about tolerance as a key for harmony in diversity, who was presented by our respected Rector, Professor Fatah Sulaiman, which was then followed by the second topic, which was very, very interesting and thought-provoking, about faith, religious tolerance, and university. And last but not least was the topic brought by Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra about the strengthening and heightening religious tolerance in higher education context. We really hope the lessons that we provide through the discussions could be brought into your new perspective and new understanding about the importance of tolerance, the importance of respect, and the importance of bringing peace into the life. And we as educators need to also play a role in enhancing the atmosphere of tolerance in our own campuses. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, especially to our key presenters for this afternoon time. Again, thank you very much to our Honorable Professor Dr. Fatah Sulaiman. Thank you so much, sir. And then to the Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero. Thank you so much. And last but not least, to our respected colleague, Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra. Thank you very, very much. And please, big virtual applause for the 3 presenters. Right, so that's the end of our discussion. Again, thank you very much. Now the time for closing, and I'll send back the forum to Ibu Mira. Bu Mira.
Still muted.
I forget to unmute. Okay, thank you, Professor Dr. Haji Fatah Sulaiman, Most Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero, Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra, and Dr. Udi Samanhudi for the inspiring sessions. We have finally come to the last part of our sessions. Now, I would like to invite the head of Sriwijaya State Buddhist College, Dr. Sapardi, to express our appreciation to Professor Dr. Haji Fatah Sulaiman, Most Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero, and also Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra, and also to give closing remarks. The screen is yours, Dr. Sapardi.
Okay, thank you. The Honorable Rector of UNTIRTA, Professor Dr. Haji Fatah Sulaiman, Venerable Professor Dr. Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero from the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka, Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra from Sriwijaya State Buddhist College, Tangerang, and all participants of the webinar. Namo Buddhaya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semuanya. This webinar program is collaboration between Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa University Serang, the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka, and Sriwijaya State Buddhist College of Tangerang. In the future, we hope that the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka will be to become partners in the development of Buddhist education at Sriwijaya State Buddhist College in Indonesia through cooperation in the field of education, research, and others. Following up on the discussion some time ago, we asked the Rector of UNTIRTA, Professor Dr. Sulaiman, Professor Dr. Fatah Sulaiman, to follow up the plan for the Tridharma Pendidikan Tinggi. With the completion of this webinar, we would like to express our gratitude and at the same time convey certificates to first Professor Dr. Fatah Sulaiman, Rector of UNTIRTA Serang. The second.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Prof. Yeah. The second, Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero from the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka. Bante, thank you very much. And Mr. Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra from Sriwijaya State Buddhist College. That is, and thank you so much. Namo Buddhaya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
So would you like to give e-certificate to the speaker? Dr. Sapardi?
Yeah.
So would you like to give the e-certificate to the speaker?
Yes.
Nugraha, would you like to share screen, the certificate?
Di sini tidak ada share, aduh, Mbak. Mr. Edi?
Yeah, wait. Okay.
Screen-nya tidak bisa di sini?
Oh yes, wait.
Mau di backup aja, Mbak?
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, this is certificate given to Most Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Bante.
Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra.
Ya, terima kasih, Mr. Edi.
Thank you. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
On behalf of International Office of Universitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa, on behalf of International Office of Universitas Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa, and all the committee members, we would like to give our most sincere gratitude to Professor Dr. Haji Fatah Sulaiman, Most Venerable Professor Gallelle Sumanasiri Thero, and Dr. Edi Ramawijaya Putra. Finally, we would like to thank to all participants that has stayed with us until the end. We hope these sessions has shared a new light and opened our mind to endless new possibilities in terms of diversity. Mahatma Gandhi said that our ability to reach unity in diversity will be the beauty and the test of our civilizations. I hope we can stay in touch, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next webinar. Thank you. Good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Gallelle Sumanasiri.
Namaste, Bante.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof. Mr. Edi, thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. See you next time.
Yes, see you next time.
Thank you.
Okay,
Prof.
thanks a lot.
For International
Ya,
Office.
terima kasih,
Udi
Pak.
Samanhudi, my bro. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Pak Profesor.
Mas Udi, terima
Thank
kasih,
you.
Mas Udi.
Ya, sama-sama Pak Ketua. Terima kasih banyak sudah berkenan hadir dan menutup acara ya. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It is very well organized. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much.
Professor Gallelle, thank you so much. Thank you.
I like the